Level 9, here we come. Yesterday, I was using this camera, an Insta360 X5, while unloading a horse from a horse trailer. Insta360 asked to sponsor a video, however, I had no idea how painful it was about to become. Keep in mind that these full-size horses can weigh over 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, that was not good.
And watch carefully and you can see where that 1,000-pound hoof ends up. I'll save you the pain of looking at the aftermath pictures of my foot, but it's safe to say that my pinky toe got durability tested, failed, and I'm pretty sure it's broken. Effin' chat for my toe. But thanks to the 8K resolution on the X5, I can reframe the whole video and zoom in so you can see just the steps as well. And I'm gonna be honest, that hoof placement looks very much intentional on the horse's part.
Yeah, that was not good.
But going to the doctor here in the USA cost more than the horse, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I do like how my selfie stick disappears and the camera is just floating there in space, filming like I'm a default NPC in a video game. Of course, I understand that it's not this camera's fault that my toe is broken, but it does go to show why I always have an Insta360 in my camera bag, so I can film everywhere all at once, and zoom into what I need to, horizontally or vertically for social media, after the fact, to better tell a story no matter how painful that story might be. My biggest gripe though over the years with these cameras has always been the glass lenses, which are real glass, and historically have not been user replaceable until now. Insta360 sent me the X5 camera to test out. They say the lens has a sapphire-like coating, and while I can see extremely faint marks at a level 6 and slight scratches at a level 7, it does look like they have done something special here. But since there are visible marks, the lens is probably not solid sapphire, especially as our level 8 pick slices through the glass, and our level 9 pick, which has a tip made with corundum or aluminum oxide, causes some massive devastation. Glass is glass, and action cameras go through more abuse than any other style of camera, and one accidental whack, like this bump my Insta360 X4 received in Goblin Valley, or when it got knocked over by a camel in Kenya. Previously, accidental damage could ruin the image quality forever, but that's not true anymore. Before we try installing the replacement piece of glass, which costs a pretty reasonable 30 bucks, let's take a look at the scratches underneath my microscope. The lighter marks from levels 6 and 7 are not super visible, even with the microscope. The level 8 scratch looks pretty normal, but at a level 9, we see chunks of the surface being ripped out like a farmer plowing through a field. That aluminum oxide level 9 pick is pretty brutal. Almost as brutal as being stepped on by a horse, or getting hit with a hammer. The Insta360 X5 obviously has two lenses, and since it should only take us about 10 seconds to replace, we might as well durability test the other side as well. And to be honest, with its glass construction, I assumed that after a few whacks, the hammer would be enough to shatter this thing. But apparently thanks to that domed construction, shout out to the Roman Empire, the glass itself is able to withstand the hammering, to the point where my wooden desk is actually damaged and permanently divoted, while the glass is still in one piece. Thumbs up for that. I'm impressed. Double checking on my it's not solid sapphire claim from earlier, I have my diamond tester, which does register the real sapphire on the Tissot watch face, but does not register sapphire on the glass lens of the Insta360 X5. So I would guess that the scratch resistance is due to some kind of ceramic coating or technological black magic that we do not yet understand. The Insta360 X5 replacement glass kit only comes with one piece of replacement glass, which is something to keep in mind if both lenses are damaged. Normally these cost 30 bucks, but I talked Insta360 into giving the first 50 people who buy the new X5 a free lens replacement kit. The link for that is down in the description. The circular removal tool has little ridges around the inner edge, which interlock with the ridges around the circular lens. With a few twists of the tool, the glass of the X5 flops out. It's a surprisingly thick little unit. The new lens comes in its own protective case and has a tiny suction cup on the outside to help plop it into position, without getting any grimy fingerprints all over the underside of the lens, or worse, on top of the interior camera. Any fingerprints or dust left behind will compromise the image quality, and with the new glass now in place, I can use the same twisty tool to screw it back down. making sure the small white mark on the bottom lines up with the Insta360 logo. And that's it. So far, the X5 is pretty durable and repairable, and I'm a fan. But I still want to see how they've managed to waterproof the X5 to 15 meters, which in America is about 50 feet. And for that, you guessed it, we need to go inside. The large 2,400 mAh battery can shoot video for 3 hours straight. There's also an SD card slot in here, and you know I like that. There are no visible screws though, and the whole action camera appears to be glued shut. But that's never stopped us before. A little bit of heat and some razor blade tango peels up the exterior plastic layer, revealing a quirky but essential upgrade that will probably go unnoticed by most people, but filmmakers will notice. See, when an action camera is moving fast, like on a motorcycle or while skydiving or skiing, the wind noise can totally wreck any usefulness of the onboard microphone and destroy any audio the video might have. However, Insta360 has combined multiple layers of wind-breaking metal mesh material over that watertight microphone membrane, and that metal mesh is acting like a dead cat, which I promise is the actual name for these weird-looking furry windbreakers. I always keep one of these in my bag as well. Sound waves come in, but the air gusts get broken up before hitting the mic. There are 8 normal Phillips head screws. Keep in mind that since the battery is already removed and the exterior glass lenses are replaceable from the outside, there really is no reason to get inside of this thing besides just seeing how it's waterproofed, which is of course what we're here for. With the screws gone, we finally see it. A very thick blue rubber band acting as a gasket. Perfect. We've seen this a few times, like on the Apocalypse phone from last week, as well as an underwater drone from a while back. This strip of rubber will definitely keep the camera watertight down to 15 meters, quite a bit deeper than other action cameras. Insta360 also has an invisible diving case that protects the camera down to 60 meters, or nearly 200 feet, but I'll save that kind of testing for another video. I just had a horse smash my foot, so give me a second to recover. Something else that was rather shocking in here is that the whole time I thought the camera sensors would be directly behind the camera lenses, like we see on smartphones. But Insta360 has cleverly set the dual camera sensors off to the sides of the camera body, and is using a prism, like in a periscope lens, to redirect the image onto a sensor mounted at 90 degrees. There is another rubber ring around the glass. It's a pretty clever design. It saves a lot on space, and honestly, I didn't see this one coming. But it tracks, since having 2 image sensors back to back would have generated a whole lot of heat while filming in 8K. So mounting them at opposite ends of the housing allows for their own thermal dissipation systems. Engineers are smart. The X5 sensor is 144% larger than the sensor on the X4, and if we take a look at it under a microscope, we really don't see anything recognizable. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know how camera sensors work, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask. But I do know that the bigger sensors are able to capture more light, which means a better image quality at higher resolutions, and I am a fan of that. It's also cool to see the Lego-style plugs for the camera sensors are literally glued to the motherboard, so that they won't accidentally come disconnected when they encounter violent situations, like action cameras often do. The motherboard has 3 large processors on it. The triple AI chips help reduce noise for cleaner images. They also stitch together the 360-degree sensors in real time, while tracking a subject and digitally removing selfie sticks. It's also curious there is a massive amount of thermal paste bridging the backside of the motherboard to the internal metal housing of the removable battery, but any heat dissipation is good dissipation in my book. The modular USB-C charging port is protected by an exterior watertight trapdoor. This USB-C port can charge the battery to 80% in 20 minutes. The bottom of the camera has the standard quarter 20 threads, which mount to a selfie stick, as well as 4 other slots for the quick-release magnetic accessories. And don't get me wrong, an Insta360 camera doesn't replace a whole camera bag. But just like a DSLR shoots in RAW to color grade later, an Insta360 X5 films everything to frame later, at any perspective. Whether zoomed into a 30-degree field of view, out to 100 like a regular action camera, or zoomed completely out to see the whole world all at once. All of which is edited instantly with AI, or manually with the internal gyros, or just dragging the camera picture around with your finger. You never know which bone you're gonna break next, so if you want to catch all the angles, I'll leave the link for the Insta360 X5 in the description. And remember, the first 50 people also get a free lens replacement kit. You're welcome. Thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around after my foot gets better.